Hello, and welcome to the late night Saturday concert at the Corbridge Chamber Music Festival. Traditionally, this concert allows us to stray off the beaten track, to explore all things new. But tonight, we take in the old and the new, as we delve into the world of the musical fantasy. The fantasy has its roots in improvisation and spontaneity, and amongst the finest exponents of this form in the 17th century was Henry Purcell. We're delighted that the Elias String Quartet has provided us with footage of a live performance of two of these fantasies from a recent concert of theirs in Austria. We also take in more recent fantasies by Jörg Wiedmann and by Derek Bourgeois, as well as presenting a fantastical new work for solo bassoon by our composer in residence this year, Piers Hellawell. This piece also boasts the rather fantastic title, All About Snoob. We welcome a number of new performers to our festival tonight, and all these were booked for our originally planned live festival in St Andrews, Corbridge. We have David Stark, the double bass player, and poet Sinead Morrissey, who recites one of her most recent poems especially for us. We also welcome Norwegian ballet star Kenji Wilkie to dance a little teaser from our Fugues and Fables project, which sadly was a major casualty of this summer's cancellations. More about that from Richard later. But we open and close tonight's concert with music by J.S. Bach. As a curtain raiser, here are three of his two-part inventions, played on the available lockdown resources of violin and bassoon by Lucy Gould and Florence Plain.
All About Snoop was actually the only compositional output of mine, so far at least, during the 2020 lockdown. It was written because at the beginning of the lockdown, when everybody was very gloomy about the loss of live music, I suggested to COMA, Contemporary Music for All, that while we couldn't have ensembles, maybe we could have a system of commissions for their solo players in COMA who are adventurous non-professionals, so that we could have solo pieces that would then be recorded for premiere online by those individuals without the need for ensembles, which then couldn't meet. So one of the first volunteers for this was the keen bassoonist Jeremy Crump, who's a COMA supporter, and in fact he also contributed a commission of another piece. So I worked with Jeremy, and I found that the bassoon is really a thrilling vehicle for a composer. It's a very versatile instrument, and I think it's hugely mischaracterized, offers great opportunities. So what emerged was a kind of character piece, and it began to remind me of those human characters that one meets sometimes, always seem to be in the pub when you go in, or at social gatherings, who entertain everybody with their kind of jester persona, and maybe say the kind of things that the rest of us might think and not say. And entertaining as they are, you never really quite know where these people come from, or what the rest of their life is like, or what their frustrations and disappointments might be. So that's the character of the piece, and it has 3 sections. It was premiered online by Jeremy Crump in June 2020, and I'm delighted that tonight it's going to be played by the up-and-coming bassoonist Florence Plain. So this is All About Snoob.
A tourniquet for Emily Davison. A Harridan Houdini, cages, and not just the ribcage of that final horse you hailed like a tram on Tattenham Corner, they the reins of his bridle Henton, but corsets, railings, handcuffs, cubbyholes, heat shafts inside the Houses of Parliament taunted you all your life, fair Emily, like the keep out signs on the King's estate or the clang of your yellowing cell in Strangeways each time they frog marched you back. What manner of woman were you? Appalled editorials harumphed in a fog of pipe fumes, a child on a poster in a nacreous cardigan wept stunted tears of neglect. Mummy's a suffragette. Outside Marylebone Station. At first the slippery trick of fasting set you free, by which the bones assert their own supremacy. Your sentence is axed repeatedly just by turning the face of Kafka's hunger artist or a starveling Christ before Pentecost towards your captors. Queasiness in Whitehall, a burn like caustic soda through the notion of gentlemen. But it didn't take long for the state to stiffen its spine, roll up its sleeves and conjure a bag of tricks of its own, a tube, a buckle, a funnel, a gag, your own body breathing on its slab, forced to outfox you. You staggered from each feeding session, dishevelled and drenched, a veteran of rough seas and shipwrecks. It must have been dizzying, the tableau vivant of each arrest so grimly asymmetrical. Whatever cry for justice launched towards man and heaven, exploding glass, fire in a pillar box, collapsed suddenly to a woman with her hair undone, pale as a peony pinned between policemen. Horses, compacted torsos and high-stepping hooves flanked you here also, their sinews the sinews of the immutable world, viciously reasserted. As rain continued to fall on the reasonable cobblestones, you were escorted away from the theatre of the street like an apostate, over and over again, in violet weathers. Buoyed, maverick, hooked, through my humble work, already by 1909 you could never be bound by the epithets found on most women's headstones. From letters to newspapers to rocks to horsewhips to dropping yourself from a balcony. If Calvary haunted you, it was Calvary garlanded with deeds, not words, white dresses fluttering from its crosses. But the century, as well as your life, was speeding up. Portraits of nothing and fairy-like, tinted steam, cast back at its witnesses as jittery footage. So as the 8:15 from Victoria bore south through the shuttered villages, and children stood to watch it pass as always, and a slack mist lay on the fields, and London was emptied of bookies and flower sellers, and motor cars stalled at the gates, and women in hats like avalanches chattered and laughed, little emptinesses, little heart flowers, bubbles in the blood cascading upwards. You fingered the stub in your pocket, the scarf at your throat, and the train dispatched its smoke, and the crowd surged high as a wave and set you down on time, and the guard rails snickered. Then your ashen flash and fall so fast the newsreel almost missed it. The dynamite of a tenth of a second. Then nothing.
Hello, my name is David Stark. I'm Principal Double Bass of the BBC National Orchestra of Wales and Associate Principal Bass of the Academy of St Martin in the Fields. I'm very excited to be playing for the Corbridge Chamber Music Festival again this year. I have very fond memories of playing there back in 2016, I think it was. I'm just sad I can't be with you in person. During the 80s and early 90s, Derek Bourgeois was the director of the National Youth Orchestra of Great Britain. During this time, he wrote sets of fantasy pieces for every single section of the orchestra. They were written as audition pieces covering many different technical problems within a short space of time. Today I'm going to play the fifth of 9 fantasy pieces for unaccompanied double bass.
Hello, and excuse my rather windswept appearance. I'm actually talking to you from the confined space of my little boat, where we are anchored in the middle of the Walton backwaters on the Essex coast. That's how things are at the moment. Anyway, I'd just like to talk to you briefly about the next item, which is an idea that first came up as a response to a need to try to create something unusual and new. And the trio and Rob Plain had this idea that we would try to do a piece which involved a dancer, but we wanted it to be without the need for staging or special lighting, and it could make up a whole second half of a concert. And we came up with the idea of combining Hugh Watkins' wonderful Four Fables, which was written for the Goulds and Rob together, for the Quartet for the End of Time constellation of musicians. So we thought we'd combine that piece, which we would have choreographed with a dancer, with something completely different, and we chose Bach's Arte Fugue as a kind of complete contrast to juxtapose with Hugh's wonderful, fantastical and imaginative and free music. And we had a lovely friend, Kenji Wilkie, an Australian Japanese dancer who is currently working in Oslo at the ballet. And he had already had experience of dancing to chamber works and chamber groups in rather enclosed space, so we thought he would be completely perfect to do this. Now, of course, we're not presenting here the whole second half work that we had envisaged originally, but we'd like to give you a kind of little snapshot of what it would have been, and hope that we will be able to do something full scale at the next festival. I hope you enjoy it.
For this piece, I took inspiration from folding paper cranes. I wanted to bring the concept of folding and unfolding from origami to dance, the folds and creases in the paper becoming movements in the joints of the dancer. For the second movement, the paper crane is unfolded with the crease lines still showing, the lines suggesting a readable dance notation. For the choreography, I wanted to connect it more to the natural movement of musicians, a byproduct dance driven by the music.